I hear you. And you know what? I really mean that. But I am also not going to pass up sharing the transfer value of my genuinely expressing to you that I hear that by saying, your daughter will find it extremely valuable to hear you say to her on occasion, I hear that. You see, I didn't say I hear that. And here's the way you can get out of needing that. You see? Sometimes you need to know that somebody hears you and just stands with you in that mutual knowing. And all the yes buts in the world can't change the fact that I hear you, I really hear you, and I really love you.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting it in. Okay. Hands. The gentleman in the back.
I'm having trouble figuring out what the question is, so maybe I'll just talk about what the problem is, and perhaps you can help me. Chronic pain. Seems like had some kind of pretty serious discomfort since as far back as I can remember, like back in grade school even, at that age. And now I'm 51, something like that. And I feel like it just keeps sort of, what's the word, transforming into different kinds of pain, but not going away. And it's like it's becoming part of, it's like I almost accept it as part of my personality now, like I am hurt. I hurt, therefore I am, sort of a thing. And I guess I'm feeling a little hopeless about the possibility of is there an end to it, or what would it be? You can't, is this better? Yeah. Or what would it be like to not have it? Had open heart surgery about a year and a half ago, and still having pain of various kinds. It's some of the stuff that was here before the surgery, and it's not simply related to heart or circulation. It's muscle cramps and intestinal cramps. And it seems like it's been a long journey through a whole process of self-healing over the last 2 or 3 decades, and it's still here, and I'm getting weary of it.
It is a garment you have worn. One which, up until now, you haven't discovered that you can take off, in the same sense of discovering that you can stand up, as I said earlier. However, the garment is in tatters. I am just sharing for perspective that it is losing its structural integrity, you might say, and will fall off of its own accord because there will not be enough to keep it around your shoulders. Just a moment. When you say you're getting tired of it, you are expressing a genuine truth. It is not a way to leverage a healing. You really are losing the energy to endure it, you might say.
That's very accurate.
That's part of the healing. You hear me? That's part of the healing. That isn't acquiescing to the problem.
Part of the healing is letting the garment slip off, you mean?
Is becoming tired of it.
Oh.
And to become tired, exhausted from it, does not constitute acquiescing to it, yielding to it. But it also doesn't constitute standing up against it. Do you see? The simple fact is that when you do give up trying to deal with it, when you stop bringing will into the equation of, quote, coping with the pain, unquote, you're going to find the pain simply cease.
I have done my fair share of struggling against it, I have to say. And mentally and the resulting emotional consequences of, what should I do next, or what didn't I do right that this hasn't changed, or I tried this, maybe I should try that, on and on and on.
And now in the face of what I've just said, you can't afford to say, oh, you mean that this pain has been evidence of sheer willfulness on my part? You mean all these years it's been my fault? So you can't afford to do that, because that isn't what I said.
Yeah, it didn't feel like I was but the question I was coming to the
The
top
idea would have popped up before midnight tonight.
Really?
Continue, though.
I'm thinking about this. Yeah, you're right. I would have. All those decades, and all I had to do was just...
So then, instead of working on the pain, you can willfully work on your willfulness. Oh. I guess I could be called the grand teacher of failure and the value of failing. But I cannot emphasize strongly enough that the only thing you can fail at is being an ego. And if you will fail at being an ego, an independent point of the exertion of willfulness, that's all that an ego is. If you let yourself fail at that, you will wake up. Total enlightenment will flood you, and you'll remember who you are. And so when you arrive at these points where you're exhausted from the problem, too exhausted to fight it anymore, it feels like great failure. And yet, if you will actually go ahead and let go completely, transformation will occur. Man's extremity is God's opportunity. An empty hand is a receptacle for the spontaneous infilling of what's real, of the Father's will, of truth, of revelation, of clarification, of enlightenment. I cannot tell you what the equivalent is of what I'm going to say, but as I said, it's like a garment that is in tatters. And instead of finding out how to make this garment less binding, you need to dance. A little bit of joyful wriggling will cause the tatters to slip off. And I want you to listen within yourself for the specifics of how to wriggle with joy. I didn't say strain. Wriggle, jiggle, shake. Not with a vengeance, but with rhythm, with a sense of music moving you see.
Thank you, Raj.
You're welcome. You know, it's like being in a room with no windows, in the dark, and there's a ceiling light, and there's a light switch on the wall, and you've been in the room for 20 years, fussing, being angry at, being frustrated by, always banging into things, and by the situation of being in the dark. And you've built up resentment over time. And this knot of resentment has such substance to it, and I'm over-dramatizing your situation, but this knot of resentment has such substance to it that it's almost like that's become a new garment instead of the problem of darkness that defines you. You now have enough character to really be willing to defy the problem. And one day, finally, let us say after 20 years, you stumble against the wall and your shoulder hits the light switch and the light goes on and the problem's gone. And although you're amazed, this knot of resentment that's been giving definition to your character is still there. And you say, you mean that's all it takes? Is just to move that little switch a quarter of an inch? What about all of this resentment which I was going to use to overcome this unmovable problem? You see? Don't value what you believe to be your personal capacity to overcome what you perceive a problem to be. Because you will begin to overrate your personal capacity. And your overrating of your personal capacity will become an overrating of who you are, which you can come to believe.
I have put great value on the fact I say to myself, well, look, you've endured all this pain for so long and you're still basically alive and you still function as sort of a trophy or something to say, well, so look what you went through and you were strong and you did that.
And then,
but the stuff is still there though after I say that.
But then, when you accidentally hit the light switch and found out it took so little, it seems to wipe away your trophy. Your trophy becomes meaningless. It is like a woman's coat made out of a cheetah skin, who, living through the 60s and 70s and 80s, has arrived in a time when that coat repulses everyone. And her trophy, her elegant and expensive and scarce coat, can give her no satisfaction anymore. You see? Yes, you did that, and it's okay. What I'm saying is that you are at a point not only where this garment would have fallen off your shoulders anyway, you are also at a point of the healing of your mind, wherein the healing will come from abandoning your offense directed toward the problem. You see what I mean?
I hear what you're saying, and it'll take a while to soak in. It's a big step. That's a big. It's a whole different.
But what I'm saying is, the big step is really very, very tiny. One you are very capable of taking. because it takes nothing from you instead of the lots that you thought it was going to take from you. You see?
Yeah, I've been geared up for the big onslaught for a long time. Have to have a lot of energy and a lot of tools and all kind. Yeah, it's what you're saying is much different.
Let it percolate.
Yeah, it will.
Okay. We will take a 10-minute break. Okay. Hands. At the table.
Good afternoon again. Good afternoon again. May I take the liberty of asking you some questions about yourself? Not Paul, Raj.
I understand. Yes.
Since I think going on and passing this type of existence is one great adventure that I look forward to when my time comes, I would like to hear from you something about what it's all about, if you can tell us that. And in terms of, have you been where we are? And where do you go when you're not here with us? What do you do? And what can we expect?
Oh, yes, indeed. I have been where you are. But you know, there's only one place to be, and we're all in the same place at this very moment. We could call it reality, or we could call it the kingdom of heaven. The really meaningful way of speaking about where I am and where you are is that the difference amounts to how much of where we really are we are letting in. I am letting it all in. And you are letting in a little bit of it, let us say. And you are blocking the experience of the rest of it by your very definite opinions about what it all is. You look and you say, this can't be the kingdom of heaven. Like in the field of dreams. They said, is this heaven? He says, no, it's just Iowa. Well, it's just planet Earth. It's just a result of the Big Bang. It's a fluke of matter and material processes. You're all very sure that it's not the kingdom of heaven. It's just Iowa. Let me put it this way. I would not tell you to look forward to passing on when, quote, the time comes, unquote, because passing on will not cause you to let in a fuller experience of the kingdom of heaven. And whatever blinders or limits or whatever you are distorting your experience of the kingdom of heaven with, will still be in place. Now, the fact is that the experience of being, of existing, is, for all intents and purposes, identical for the person who has passed on, as it was for them before they passed on. There are still trees. There are still buildings. There are still drugs and alcohol. There are still opportunities to be in gangs, you might say. It's not an experience that gives you the opportunity to have a leg up on your enlightenment, you see. And that's why, in relating with all of you, I keep bringing your attention back to paying attention to where you are, because it's the same place I am, and it's the only place there is to see clearly or see through a glass darkly. There's only one thing to see. It's the infinite expression of God. And either you're seeing it clearly or you're not. So, you don't have to die to wake up, and waking up will not remove you from where you are. Waking up will relieve you of misperceptions and limitations that were born of your limited perceptions. After all, you don't expect to see a miracle in Iowa. You don't expect to see a miracle in a universe that's a result of a big bang that God didn't have anything to do with. And if God didn't have anything to do with it, then this isn't the place to look for a miracle. You look for a miracle where God is, you see. That's why I'm encouraging everyone to look at this all with innocent eyes, with a mind innocent of the things you so strongly believe, which you have made commitment to, without having an experience of what it is you're believing in. You understand what I mean?
Say that again slowly. Please say that again slowly. Just the last sentence.
A belief is something that you have made commitment to without having had an experience as the basis for
Yes.
what you believe.
Correct, yes.
You see. So, I am encouraging everyone to be willing to set aside what they believe, even if it's only for 10 minutes for safety, so you don't get into deep water. But to set it aside so that you might be present with your friend, your home, your Pacific Northwest, your world, without anything standing in the way of a new experience of it, an experience of it from which you will have new beliefs.